Okay, so this is going to be a pretty uneventful action round because these two guys over here, not a whole lot they can do. There's monsters there. They can't rest if there's monsters. It's not a city. It wouldn't matter because they can't, buy any assets if there's monsters. They're going to hang tight. Now, they do have some local actions and things, I think. Ah, yes. So this guy here, Mark, actually, each of them can lose a health. He can lose a health, and a monster can lose a health. So we'll go ahead and discard a health from him, and then since he actually is a 2-health monster, that will actually kill him. So that's a good thing. And then Jim over there can recover sanity, but everybody is at max sanity in this particular spot. So I think we're good to go with these guys here. We could do a trade action here. I think, let's see. I think Mark is probably going to encounter that, but it doesn't really matter because we were going there for the artifact, and our friend, the old man Norman, already has the artifact. So, and Jim has the 2 clue tokens and the 2 assets. So there's nothing really to trade there. We could do a little bit of a trade if we wanted. But they're done. Now Norman, thankfully, still has a boat ticket. So travel is one thing that you don't want to overlook in this game, that's for sure. And so he's going to basically wrap to the other side of the map. He's going to land here in Sydney, and he can go one more space with that boat ticket. But he may jump up there and check out that clue. Those clue tokens are always or hard to get and good to get. So I could spend that boat token and move up to that city there, whatever that is. That's got to be like Vietnam or something down there, or Indonesia somewhere. And that will get him closer to them. So they're going to be here. I could even leave them. I could have, what I could have done is I could have had them. Well, I want to encounter that because his artifacts are good to get. I was thinking I could ignore that and then kind of try to go over here and meet up with him. But, screw it. Let's try to get the artifacts. The artifacts are very nice a lot of the times. So let's just have him. All right, let me think. Well, the thing is I can't move up there anyway because I've already done a move. So I can get the extra move, in my move action by spending the boat ticket. If you're not familiar, you can't repeat the same action, but when you move, if you have a ticket, you can basically take an extra space if that ticket matches. And you see here, you got the red lines, which are the railroads, and the boat liners are the white lines. These little yellow dots are like these, rough terrain and trails and things. So he can't move there anywhere. He could sit here. Let's just get him close. Let's get him close. We're going to spend that there. He'll be in a city. He can go ahead and try to pick up some assets. He's at max stats there, so let's go ahead and try to get some assets. Now we're all just going to have a real basic encounter here in the city, after which then Norman here is going to try to break the crown of the serpent and then go from there. So I've just made a little conga line here of all the folks. So first up is Mark. A friendly game of cards ends with a very high stakes hand. To check for influence, if you pass, amaze everyone and find a new friend, gain 1 random ally. Okay, so we're going to roll for influence. He's going to roll 3 dice, and then we're going to get a success there because we got a 5. So he is due an ally. We'll set that aside, and then we'll do the next one here, which is a city counter, and this is going to be Jim. Jim is going to, let's see, a shop in the old part of town is reputed to have an amazing collection of rare books, but the shop cannot always be found. You research the legend, and you do your best to find it. So we're going to do lore -2. In this case, it'll be 1 die. If you pass, you gain the tome artifact, or a tome artifact, and if you fail, you lose 2 sanity. Okay? So we're going to roll there. So he's going to lose 2 sanity. So that will put Jim at 3 sanity. Not the greatest thing in the world. And then finally, we're going to have Norman have his encounter. You wander through the aisles of an antique bookstore. These guys need to talk better because it looks like they're both looking for the same store. Although many extremely rare books can be found here, the organizational system is almost impossible to decipher. Well, that's stupid. If you do a lore test in -1, which will be 2 dice for him, if you pass, you'll be able to track down a tome artifact. Okay, so that's it. Nothing bad happens to Norman here. I guess he learned from Jim, but he failed anyway. You suck. So Mark over here has now found himself a random ally, which is a witch doctor. So I'll move the camera so we can read that. Investigators on your space may recover 1 additional health or discard a curse token when performing a rest. So we got a little bit of a medicine man here for us. So now we got to do the mythos because the breaking of the crown happens at the end of the mythos phase. So hopefully we don't get screwed over by the Mythos too badly. So now we're going to move the Omen track, do the Comet, and spawn a gate. So we'll move the Omen track and move to a red. Nothing there. We'll do the Comets. So again, we're just, before I forget, we're going to put a Cultist there on the Expedition space. There you go, Cultist. And we're going to resolve the Dark Pact here for Jim. So he's going to roll a die. He rolls a 1, so we got to resolve the Dark Pact. So whatever devil he made a deal with has come home to roost there. So we'll move in here. All is lost, huh? Well, you guys don't know the half of it. The agreement you made seemed necessary at the time, but now you regret signing that pact. The sinister beings have come to claim what is yours: blood, knowledge, and hope. Discard all of your possessions and improvement tokens and lose all but 1 health and 1 sanity. I knew I shouldn't have taken that. Okay. Alright, so I lose, let's see, all my possessions here. This is a spell, the ticket. I have 1 health and 1 sanity. Good job, dude. He made it. You know, he was down there in the bayou. He made a deal with the devil so he could be a rock star. And that's too bad for him. So here comes the real junk. Alright, so the Serpent Crown, when you have the Comet there, you have to discard an ally. Well, I need 2 allies to be able to do the damn crown thing. So I got to get rid of one of these allies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this guy. He's going to do his little conspiracy theory test there. So I'll roll a die, 4, 5, or 6. I got a 1, so nothing. And then we got to get rid of the Arcane Scholar. So I got to get another ally for this stupid guy. And I do have other allies with Mr. Mark there. He's got a bunch of allies. And, you know, hindsight, I probably should have given him some extra allies and looked better at that crown. But, you know, live and learn. So now I know you need an extra ally because you got to resolve that at the end of the Mythos phase because you may draw a Comet. So screw you, Eldritch Horror. Now we'll spawn a gate. The gate is going to go to London. The London is up here. We will put a monster on London. So we will do a witch there. So the witch will actually trigger on the Comet phases of all. Each investigator who has a cursed health condition loses 1 health. So we got to try to remember that. So the witch is now in London. In the events happens, each investigator may discard any number of items, possessions. Then he loses 1 health for each item possession he has. Alright, holy cow. Well, Norman has the artifact item, so he is not ever going to discard that. So he's actually going to lose 1 health for that. And then we are going to look up here at Mr. Jim, who's almost dead. No items. This, my friend, has a bunch of items. So if we look here, whoop, so there is an ally, there's an item, 1 item, 2 item, 3 item, 4 item. So he'd have to lose 4 health. Eesh, that'll put him at 2 health. Well, I don't want to lose that +2. That kerosene is almost overkill, but that could come in handy. The +1 on the will, I can get rid of that. And this one here, spend an extra, I'll get rid of that. Whatever, Cthulhu. And I have been totally forgetting to advance the gate track every time I hit one of these things there. So I'm going to do a little bit of bookkeeping here. Sorry, that's like the most basic thing, but I forgot it. And so I'm going to try to readjust where the gate should be. And I can just take a quick look. Hold on. Okay, I moved it 2 more down. Basically, I worked it out. What I do actually underneath of the discard decks is I put the cards face up in order. So I just basically kind of walk back through the Mythos deck. And basically, since we started green, we hit blue. We had Tokyo, so that was an advancement. So I moved it up to the 6, and then it would have moved to the red, and then it would have moved back to the blue based on the event. Remember the one that had us move counterclockwise? So we would have hit that. That's the only blue one we had out at the time. And then we were able to move it again on our own after it moved back to red again. So that didn't do anything, and now it just moved to red again. So we're still in pretty good shape here. We have, we're at 5. But we've got a lot more gates out here, so maybe we'll advance a little bit quicker there. So let's try to go into the next round and actually solve one of these mysteries. So the first thing that Mr. Mark's going to do is he's going to give his allies here down to Norman over here. So Norman now has 3 allies, so hopefully we don't have to discard too many more allies for him. So that's what Mark's going to do, and then he's also going to go here. And I think we're going to get him basically back up to try to take out this expedition, and I did forget to activate the expedition rumor card. So he's going to, well, do I want him to fight that monster? What's this monster have to do? I can close the gate as well there. So I will have him actually move up here. Let's see, is there a space in between? No. So he's going to move up there. So he did a trade, now he's going to fight there. So the next guy here, Jim, is going to go and do something. He probably should rest. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a rest action. He's going to get 1 health and 1 sanity for that. And so he's going to do that, and let's see. And then I will go ahead and take his special action, and each investigator on his space is going to recover 1 sanity. Norman is not going to need that because he's at max sanity there. So, but he'll get 1 for himself because that includes himself as well. Now Norman here, he can pretty much hang tight. I think he's going to hang tight over here because you know, these are kind of benign spaces here. These little kind of no-name spots. So he can actually rest, and he will get here. He'll get a health, so that's good. And then maybe he can. Let's see here. Well, he's got this thing, and maybe I couldn't have done it last turn, but this turn I can do it just in case here. So I can do a test of will -1. If you passed, you may spend 1 sanity to gain 1 random ally from the deck. So that's good. I got that extra sanity there to spend. So I got a will 4 -1. So I'll roll 3 of these. Hopefully get a pass. And then, so yeah, we passed. So I can get a random ally from the deck. So here we have a Lodge Researcher there. If you defeat a monster during your combat encounter, recover 1 sanity and gain 1 clue token. So that is pretty spiffy. So we're going to go ahead and do this over there. So he's got now 4 allies, so he should be okay. So everybody has now taken their actions. So he's going to go ahead and do a little encounter with the monster. So he's going to fight the Maniac. What does the Maniac do here? Let's take a look. So he is going to, excuse me, let's just put that on the board. He is going to, let's see, what gives you a +1 on the will. And so he has, he's already got, well, he's got 4 because he lost that 1 card. So he's got 4 + 1. So there's our success. There's a 6 there. So he succeeded there. Now strength -1. If you fail the strength test, you may discard 1 ally asset instead of losing 1 health. If you defeat this guy during a combat encounter, you get an axe asset. So we get an axe out of this guy. So I'm going to get to roll, let's see, 5 + 2 is 7 -1, so 6 dice for this guy. So there is no successes there. So I get to roll 2 more dice. And no successes there. So he's going to take 2 damage. He's not going to get any damage, but if I fail it, I have to discard. I can discard an ally. I don't have any allies. So he currently now, he's going to be at 2 health, so that's no good. So that's too bad. And I don't get to close the gate, which is really what I wanted to do. So as you can see here, things are kind of turning worse for the wear there. So we're going to do an encounter here for Mr. Jim. He's in the city. And you can see here, the shop is robbed while you are browsing. These guys are always shopping, these two. You attempt to fend off the thieves, do a strength test. He's got 2 strength. If you pass, the store owner is very gracious. Gain 1 item asset from the reserve or a random one. If you fail, lose 1 health, discard an item. So he's at 2 health. So 2 strength. So there we go. Oh, there's a success. He gets an item from. Ooh, here we go. We have an item. We have a double-barreled shotgun. All right, there's our double-barreled shotgun. That's gain +4. So he's probably going to die, but at least he'll die with a shotgun. That's all that really matters in life. All right, so that was his encounter. And now we're going to do Mr. Norman's encounter. And he is going to see the city is home to an exclusive club for world travelers. You try to convince them that granting you membership would be a prestigious feather in their cap. That sounds pretty lame, dude. So he's going to roll 1 die for influence. If you pass, the other members will graciously help you with future travel plans. Gain 1 ship and 1 train ticket. Alright. Whatever. No tickets. So, this Norman guy's an interesting character. He's out gallivanting with these little hocus pocus ladies. You know, he's collecting clues. He's trying to. He's a con man. That's what he is. Everything's done. Now we're going to have to go through Mythos Nightmare again. So great. Here's our second rumor. So we're going to go to Space 2. Space 2 is up there next to Arkham. We're going to put, you can see there, Space 2, 4 Eldritch tokens. And it's going to be a rumor. So, as an encounter, an investigator on Space 2 may use an ancient portal created by long dead wizard of Mew. He resolves an otherworld encounter. If the effect allows him to close this gate, quote unquote, solve the rumor. When there are no Eldritch tokens on this card, events doomed by 1 for each gate on the board. There are currently 1, 2, 3, 4 gates on the board. But we don't do that until there's no Eldritch tokens on there. Every time there's a comment, you discard an Eldritch token. Alright, it's not a huge deal, it's an easy one. But thankfully, that was the end of the Mythos phase. So now, Mr. Norman can go ahead and break the crown there. Good job, dude. So let me just make sure. So it's just here at the end of the Mythos phase, investigator that has a Serpent Crown artifact, which Mr. Norman does. He can, let's see, he can attempt to break the crown's hold on the minds that it has dominated. So he must do a will test -1. He currently has 4 will. There are no other modifications, so it's 4 -1. So we're going to have to roll 3 dice here. There's a 5. Now we're talking. Alright, so if he passes, he may spend clues equal to the number of players, which is 3, and discard 2 ally to solve the mystery. So let's see who he's going to discard. So he's going to get rid of these 3 clue tokens. We'll make a separate pile over here from discarding. And which allies is he going to get rid of? Let's take a look. So you have the Conspiracy Theorist, which will give us a clue possibly. He's a good one to keep. This one will give us strength and some more lore. Investigators on your investigators on your space may recover 1 additional health. And this one is if you defeat a monster during your combat encounter, recover 1 sanity and 1 clue. They're all pretty good. Well, let's see here. Let's get rid of the Witch Doctor. He's going to be sacrificed to the crown. And I like the Conspiracy Theorist and the Bounty Hunter, just thematically. So I think these are all relatively, even. This guy will give you some clues here, but, you got to do combat. This one's like a 50-50 shot on the comets. So it is what it is. So now we have solved the mystery of the crown of the serpent there, and we will reveal a new mystery. So this is Rise of the Serpent People. Great. So, long thought dead, some serpent people are returning from centuries of dormancy. Although few in number, they are masters of combining science and magic. The best of both worlds. When this encounter enters play, place a number of Eldritch tokens equal to half, which in this case will be 2, rounded up, each on a random space. We'll use the clue tokens to do the randomness. As an encounter, an investigator on a space containing an Eldritch token may attempt to discover the meaning. They can do a observation test on one of those tokens. If he passes, he may spend 2 clues to place that Eldritch token on this card. If he fails, a cultist monster ambushes him. So at the end of the phase, if you have the 2 Eldritch tokens on there, then we will solve the mystery. So let's figure out where these Eldritch tokens are going to be. So we take a look here. It's kind of a convenient location. One of them is in Rome, and the other one is going to be up in Space 9, up there in Greenland. So it's kind of, relatively close to our explorers here. So now we got to go into the next action phase. Now he is 1 space away. From there, he can leave that stupid maniac over there. So he's going to move over here. That's going to be 1 action. He can go ahead and do a rest. So he'll do a rest there since there are no monsters. So that puts him at 3 health and 5 sanity. That's a little bit better. And now we need to work on getting these 2 guys up here. Let's go ahead and give him his crown back. I kind of like that. Now he's found this sort of mystical artifact that was kind of evil, but now he's broken it and it's doing good for him. So we have these guys here. They can each grab a train token and then maybe go boom. What does this go through? Okay. So they can meet up with him in Rome. So if they each grab a train token, they can meet up with him in Rome if they spend the train tokens. So they're all in this spot here. So they don't have any actions left. So now we can go into the encounter. And we're going to have clue tokens here, but Mr. Norman, he can actually spend 1 sanity in place of a clue token once per turn. So if he can get 1 clue token, we can go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and do the encounters for this phase here. So this one will improve your will there. This one up here actually spawn clue tokens, so that's a good spot up there. And we're in a relatively good, proximity here because there's the other Eldritch token there. So we can maybe spend some time here, getting rid of these monsters and things. So let's just go ahead and work through all of the encounters here. So first up here is Mr. Mark, and so he's going to be in Rome. You have Inspirational Dream, in which you are proud Roman questor. Improve your will. Your reverie is interrupted by a band of small primitive men running wild outside. Interesting. You try to negotiate with this lost tribe of Miri Nigri. If you fail, lose 1 health and 1 sanity as they continue the pursuit of some ancient grudge. Alright, so I am going to get a will, which is cool because that'll put him at 5. And then I gotta test his influence, which is currently at 3. Is there a modifier on that? Nope, just a 3. So I'll roll 3 dice here. And we got 2 5s, so there we go. He just runs into these weird little dudes running around. Alright, so next up here is Mr. Jim. He's gonna move to the front of the line. And so he's going to say, after an unsuccessful attempt on the life of Benito Mussolini, I guess Mussolini's alive, you observe the interrogation of the would-be assassin. We'll do an observation test, which will be 2 dice. If you pass, you learn much about resisting intense coercion and improve will. If you fail, their tactics are horrible to behold, lose 1 sanity. That's kind of weird. Benito Mussolini just all of a sudden randomly in the game. Alright, so there we go. Success, improve the will, whoopity-doo-dah. And now he's at 4 will, so that's good. And so he's kind of recovered a little bit. He's got 2 health and 3 sanity now, so that's good. And so now Mr. Norman over here is going to do Rome. Again, in the Capuchin crypt, you are surrounded by the bones of thousands of dead monks, arranged in strange patterns. The sight forces you to confirm your own impending death. Confront your own impending death. You may spend 2 sanity to face and discover a new sense of destiny. If you spend sanity, gain a blessed condition. Hello, I always like blessed. So I will spend 2 sanity. That will put him at 5 sanity, so no big deal. Blessed is good because it lets you win successes on a 4, 5, or 6 there. See, 4, 5, and 6 is count successes on your test. Love blessed. We got some nice improvements for our band of merry men there. So we do need some clue tokens though, which we can go up to London and get. So now we're going to deal with some mythos balloony. Okay, so we're going to advance Omen, search some monsters. Oh my gosh, that's going to be a lot of monsters. Possibly. Discard all possessions on defeated investigators' sheets and return all defeated. Nobody's defeated. Then elite investigator gets a curse condition. So that's the only thing we got to worry about here. The elite investigator is going to get a curse condition after we advance the Doom track. The Doom track here is going to move on to blue, and we currently have 2 blue gates. So this is going to move to blue. Then our Doom track over here is going to go up 2 spaces. And then we're going to do a surge on the blue gates. Now this is kind of a bummer because this one there in London is going to get 2 monsters, and that's where we're trying to go. So what did you know? The witch and her friend the vampire have inspired a riot because they know that we're about to win. You guys are jerks. And this witch, I think we've forgotten to do her thing. Each investigator who has a curse condition loses 1 health. Nobody has a cursed condition, so that didn't matter anyway. We may have forgotten to do that last time. Alright, so we've done that. Now we're going to spawn 2 monsters on Tokyo. So we have 2 monsters here. One is Amigo there, and then we have a color out of space. This color out of space, this little green token or icon means to probably move it somewhere, and in case this one actually does, we'll move this one to Tunguska, and then our little Amigo buddy here is going to go and stay in Tokyo, and he's got a little comet. And this is why it's nice to have other players, because these comets other players will remind you of. So we spawned our monsters. We're going to spawn a clue token. Let's see what the clue token tells us to go. This is going to be in Tunguska there, so that's interesting. This is kind of cool. I always find it thematic when the the clues and things spawn, it kind of in close proximity or on the spaces of the monsters and things. And finally, we will do the event here, which is a curse token on the lead investigator. And that is going to go on Mr. Mark there, and this is the one I was talking about earlier. Only 6s count as success, which is a big bummer. Alright, so we got a few things we need to do. We need to start spawning clues and all kinds of good stuff here. So I think I may just move everybody up to London, because now we've got here 3 monsters on London and the gate. And, we've got 2 green gates coming up here. So if we take a look here, we got 2 green gates. So if we get an Omen event, we're going to move this down here to 1. So that's going to be really close to 0. So we probably should take care of a green gate if we can. That's over here in Istanbul. So we maybe have to split the group up and then bring them back together. So we can do that. We can move like 2 guys up to here and then maybe 1 guy over here to Istanbul. And before we do that, we can rest all the guys. So let me do a rest. Let's see. Everybody needs a little bit of something. So I'm going to rest up. I'll take care of that. And then I'll figure out who's going to go where. Alright, so everybody got a little bit of health and sanity. I did find that I actually had 1 guy maxed, and I put him over his max before. So now it's the question of who's going to go where. Well, I think he's definitely going to go up here, because he's got a lot of strength and things. And this guy is going to give him a bonus for the combat encounter. So this guy's relatively, easy to beat there. He's got a +1 and a -1 on the strength. He's got pretty low strength, but he has, he's got some stuff that'll give him a bonus. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to have him actually go over here and help him because he's a little weaker. He should be able to take care of himself. He's going to be doing a lot of combat, though. That's the thing. Yeah, but I would like somebody else over here because I would like him maybe to close the gate or the other guy to close the gate. All right, so that's what we're going to do because I'd like to close the gate there and then also have one guy actually do a London encounter, hopefully to get a clue token. So let's go ahead and have Mr. Mark, do the monster combat. Okay, so now we're going to start the encounters here for Mr. Mark. And the first thing we can do here with this riot is have a little ability there. Before resolving the strength encounter, you can do your influence -1, and then that will disperse the mob. So currently we have an influence of 3, and so we're going to roll 2 dice. Now that's not a combat encounter, so his ability is not going to help, but we can only succeed on a 6, so it's kind of a bummer. So I'm going to roll that. All right, so no success there. And so now we're just going to resolve strength. So strength -3, currently at 5, 6, 7 strength. So that'll put us at 4, but +1 from him. So we're going to roll 5 of these. We're only going to succeed on 6s. That's going to be tough. All right, so that's no, and then we get one more here. No 6 there. So that's 3. We're going to take 3 hits, so he's going to be dead on the riots. So, we're going to put him down. We're going to go ahead and put a blood token there. This is a city here, so he's going to be dead here. So that's unfortunate. This is going to be very difficult to beat here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it here and then kind of go to the wrap up because I think this is going to go pretty sour at this point because we're going to have to dig through here to get some clue tokens. We could have, just to kind of do sort of a what if, we could have gone over here and grabbed some clue tokens and gone here. Now, if we take a look at the Mythos cards that would have come up, let's spoil a little bit here. So we would have had an activation there. This would have moved up to greens. That was 2 more. And then we got another one here. That was another activation there, which would have moved to blue. I don't think it would have closed the gate, so we would have hit 0. We would have spawned Yig here in Central America down over here on this side. And then we have basically, let's see, 8 rounds. Well, if Doom would advance 8 times, we basically put 8 Eldritch tokens here on this, and if it would advance 8 times, then we're going to lose the game. So a couple of things going on, against us. We have our rumors that are still out here, out here to deal with the expedition deck, and then over here. So things are really kind of starting to spiral. It's not unwinnable at this point, but it's looking pretty grim here because these guys are going to be hard to get through. But I figure this is a good point. I'm pretty sure we would lose. My lose rate is definitely more than my win rate with this game. But hopefully you got something out of the playthrough. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. I'm sorry for that I couldn't add a little bit of more spice and flavor to, some of the flavor text in the cards and maybe how I was reading it. I think, I kind of did a disservice a little bit. I tried to inject a little bit of humor and whimsy into the different encounters as much as I could. It's difficult with this one sometimes because, I'm trying to do the camera and I'm kind of getting the hang of this playthrough stuff on the first place, and sometimes this stuff just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like you saw the Benito Mussolini encounter, that was just kind of funny by itself. So again, kind of getting back to what I talked about in my review, to me the game kind of succeeds and fails on 2 levels, but both those levels have to do with the storytelling. So as far as like a consistent narrative arc that kind of makes sense and is linear and you can kind of follow like a beginning, middle, and end in a thematic sense, it kind of breaks down because it's kind of random. It's just like flip a card and do stuff. But the part where it succeeds on that is it permeates the game with lots of different interesting characters, interesting events, kind of funny events, off the wall things, getting sent out into time and space, snake people, you have the different mystic bounty hunters and different characters that are going to come in, some of the mysteries are kind of interesting. So it has all of these really good points, and fun points and cool things and, dramatic events and, die rolls and things and all that stuff that are interesting all by themselves, but the cohesiveness is everything put together. Doesn't always work, but on the same token, that kind of makes sense for this theme because it is, Lovecraftian, sort of strange old ones, and Cthulhu and Yig and all these guys, where, a lot of that stuff doesn't really make sense. It's not supposed to make sense. Kind of, it drives you insane because all these crazy things are happening, but you can't seem to pinpoint what exactly is happening. So I think it succeeds in that level, and I think that's the level it should succeed on. I don't think you're really sitting down to read, some epic, piece of literature in, translated into a game. So anyway, I hope you got the idea. I did make a couple of bookkeeping errors. I'll go in and as I edit the video, add those. So if you missed those, I'll either have an annotation or some of these I kind of caught when I was playing, because it is difficult. One thing I've noticed is kind of sort of a sidetrack is it's a lot more difficult to get the rules right doing the playthrough than it is like doing the review, because the review I can just kind of go almost use the rulebook as a guide, and this is I'm playing and I'm trying to explain to you sort of strategically and thematically and in this case control 3 different characters, and then you go like, oh, I never advanced the Doom track when I should have, when I was flipping the gate encounters, like duh. So that's tricky. So hopefully if you catch anything, let me know, and I'll annotate the video as always. But hopefully I got everything right with this. I played this several times, so yeah. So I had fun with this. Yig is cool. I like this. It's kind of combat oriented. We had a lot to deal with here. The riots were a lot stronger than I expected. I just kind of read it. I'm like, oh, I can disperse them without reading that they have 3 health, and my guy was cursed. I didn't even think of that. And that's one thing. It's hard with these playthroughs to kind of juggle all of these different special abilities and things. Somebody asked me to do a playthrough of Galactic Strike Force, and it's probably got the same level of different texts and things to keep track of here. It may be a little bit easier because it's broken down into phases, but I would definitely probably miss one that I shouldn't have in that game and make a mistake. So we'll see if I end up doing that one or not. But I really enjoy this game. I have a lot of fun with it. We're definitely, my group's looking forward to playing Yig. I talked to them the other day about it, so that'll be interesting. And there's a lot of clue cards for Yig. I mean, I think way more than the base old ones, and so the game also adds a lot of cards to the base old ones, so there's a lot more variety in what you have. And I think at this point, the way the game sits, kind of as a review with the expansion, to me there's like a really nice amount of variety. Now, like I said in my review, I think the base game was fine. I don't think anybody got shortchanged or anything, because I think I played it probably 5 or 6 times, and now this is probably like my 7th play. So I feel like I could have, if I didn't get the expansion, I still had like another 5 plays in it before I really would have been like, I've seen that already. But that's pretty good, like 10 plays, and probably more than that if you leave it sit on the shelf for 3 months and then you break it out again. So to me, that's you got your money's worth there. You don't have to play something 50 times all the time. But now with the expansion, I've got at least another 10 plays or so in here just to kind of go replay Yogg-Sothoth and replay Cthulhu, and I'll play Yig a few more times and things like that. So definitely take a look at the Forsaken Lore expansion. And anyway, I hope you got something out of this. Thanks.